Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Brian's cooking.
They're burnt, and they might not even be like cooked all the way through.
Oh.
That's the problem. Is like
you were doing your damn podcast, Brian. Dude, it's so good.
Oh my god, I really fucked up the pork chops.
What do you need some time here?
No, it's just we start.
Okay. Oh, well, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to the VNB Show, Van Brian with Nick. I'm your host, Nick, and with me are the two goons, Van and Brian. How you guys doing tonight?
Well, I think I'm a little bit better than Brian. As you can hear in the background, he is currently burning dinner.
Yeah, burning dinner. Getting called a goon for just no reason, you know.
Pink in the middle, right, black on the outside.
No, you know what? It's cooked in the middle. It's actually cooked in the middle. We're good.
So we're good. Okay.
I'm going to say it's got a nice char. That's what it looks like right now.
It's eatable. It's edible.
It's definitely
eatable?
Edible, not eatable. Jesus Christ, Regan. Oh, my God.
Okay, boys, we are off to a roaring start. This is going to be a great show.
This is going to be a fun one. So as we all know, the new Madden franchise update that they've talked about for the past 3 or 4 months finally is going live November 12th, I think, Wednesday or Thursday. And they kind of, put out a couple teasers about what to expect at the first part of the update. Then the next part of the update comes in January. Then there's a third part somewhere out there too. So we're just going to kind of go over the big topics of it and kind of break that into 6 different parts. And we'll kind of, give our opinion on it, see how it kind of relates to our situation in the XCFL, and then what we even think about it. Are they useful? Are they, are they not? Or we'll just see. We'll get right on into it, though. The first thing, probably one of the biggest features, I guess we can call it, is the ability of regression of your development trait, which we saw maybe back in Madden 19, 18, when you could actually have an X factor drop down to a superstar or superstar drop down to, a star to normal, different things like that. So Van, let's start with you. I mean, we saw last cycle how it kind of worked out where we were oversaturated with ability players and high, where do you stand in this? Do you like your regression?
First of all, I wanted to say it's great having the boss on the show for these, because I'd like at the end of this for you to tell us the percentage of some of these things being implemented or how they might be, because I think everyone listening was going to want to know how you feel about them. So with that said, with the regression, you and Brian, I think, are much more versed at this than I am, but I think with the regression before, how you lost your abilities? I know we don't have the abilities turned on. Yeah. But if we could have it based on kind of age like that, where it wasn't so dramatic, where I would hate to lose something that I worked my ass off for and then just lose it for a random reason because I didn't finish in top 5 passing or something.
Well, that's always been the, can you guys hear me? Is this microphone okay? Okay. That's kind of always been the issue where, if my quarterback has 2 really good seasons in a row and earns his dev, but then has one off season and can drop back down, I don't like that. Because I don't like just because somebody else drafted a rookie quarterback and they went stat chasing. It shouldn't penalize me just for maybe I finished 7th in the big attributes or the big stats where instead of 4th or something. 7th is still really good. Why would that guy drop down? And especially when it plays such a big role in your actual regression of your attributes.
I'd have to see the formula.
Yeah, which I unfortunately don't think we'll ever see the formula. That's because Madden doesn't release anything. Brian, what about you? Where are you kind of?
You just hit exactly where I was going to go with this. Is we still have no idea, and we're probably not going to have any idea. So it's good in theory, but if you can figure it out, and I think there are a few that have done the research, and I don't think it's good on them, I guess, but if you can figure it out, you can make it work. And it's very obvious who has that ability to do that or who has figured it out, but it needs to be clear cut. And I said on Crossfire, I thought the best thing would for us to have our own dev system where we just handle it, but that's a lot of work, and you'd have to put you can. I mean, we already asked you to do so much, or you do so much. You'd have to have somebody step up and take control of that, because I just don't trust the way Madden does anything at this point, with regards to deving or, reducing a dev. It just doesn't, I want to have like a clear cut, this is that, as opposed to just this mystery box.
And that's the biggest thing, because with scenarios, anybody can get a scenario and, maybe their third cornerback or, their third receiver, whatever. But like if a guy who maybe isn't as talented on offense finally gets a receiver to bump up, and then just for the end of the season, dev regression happen. Yeah. And because he only had 750 yards and 5 touchdowns, he drops right back down. I think it would create a pretty big overall gap between the better teams and the worst teams, which is the exact opposite of what we want to create, I think.
I think it has to be cumulative over a few seasons, or it has to take in a bigger body of work than what it currently does.
I would like to see that for sure. It's a video game, so the only thing they can go off of is stats. But something that I think J-Mo mentioned, like if he has Mike Evans as his wide receiver 4 on his depth chart, then Mike Evans should drop to he should lose his X factor. If like Jack has Tom Brady as his backup quarterback right now, if Brady's his backup, Brady should lose his X factor. He wouldn't be performing at a high. It's just some common sense things that, like Brian pointed out, I'd like to be able to do it, like customize the full thing. But then you get into, that's why most outstanding player with that, there's nothing tied to that. Nobody gets user rank point, like nobody gets anything, because it's all, up to, I pick the 15 guys that are on there. So like if I'm the one sitting there going, oh, well, this quarterback threw for more touchdowns, but this guy threw for more yards and less interceptions, it kind of comes down to, me deciding or a group of us deciding, and that can be, kind of, oh, Brian's gone. There, he's back. That could be, I don't know. It just becomes what does he think first? I don't know. It's really tricky and really complicated.
Yeah, I mean, what's X factor? You get an extra couple of years out of the guy.
That's our next question here, actually.
Brian, are you washing your fucking car?
I'm trying to get the cast iron skillet clean. You ever?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah. We'll put the Pam away and get back to the show.
He's multitasking. That's all right.
I'm trying to be quiet and do both.
You're good.
Well, you know what? You're failing.
This actually, though, goes right into our second topic, where they actually are talking about giving us the ability to set how many, to set the dev traits. Do you want this many X factors, this many stars, this many whatever, and at the start of each season, they would reset it to that. So if we said we want 5, I don't know if it's that extreme where we can be like, we want 7 X factor quarterbacks, 7 of the, whatever. But is that something that would be interesting?
Aren't you just holding back guys who deserve it then?
Kind of. If how many do you pick? Do you pick 5? Do you pick
7? So I come in with my rook and I throw for 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns, and because the quota's full, I don't get anything?
That's kind of what it would be, yeah.
No way. That's silly.
Well, I mean, here, like for us at least, and correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't the difference between superstar and X factor, like, isn't it
typically a year of regression?
Yeah, but that's really it, right? You get a year, an extra year of regression. Yeah, maybe it doesn't hit like as hard.
Yeah,
it almost feels like we should just
early on they would obviously acquire XP faster, chips faster, but
but that's toward the end, that's negligible. Like it's not like there's a very little difference between when a guy's 28 and he's gonna still need 24,000 or 22,000. Like you're getting one chip every year anyway.
It would just be tough to if you have an older running back that you're planning on, okay, he's gonna be my guy for the next 3 years. Like he'll be fine, and then all of a sudden he loses his dev, and you're like, well, shit, now I got to figure it out. But it would make people plan things out, and you might get stuck with some bad contracts if a guy regresses a little earlier or something like that, which could help.
But apparently running backs don't matter at all. So that's that as an example.
We're a sim league, Brian.
Yeah, they just don't matter.
It's going to be interesting because we want to use these features they throw in, but you don't want to create an imbalance throughout. You don't want to create an imbalance throughout the league. Like there already is. The same-ish teams make the playoffs every time. Like we're seeing a little bit better this cycle, I think, as guys figure out the game and stuff. But it.
That's a good point.
And in the past Madden cycles, with the users whose defenses are on the field way more, which are typically the guys at the bottom of the standings, they were getting all the dev upgrades back in the day for defensive players, where the top users weren't, because your guys aren't racking up tackles like the lesser teams were. So it kind of I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to, like Van said, we're gonna really have to see how that one works out. Right now, I'd put that one about 50-50 if we use it or not, just because I don't want everyone to have a 90 overall team at the end of the cycle. I would like for people's teams to have a little variance, but we'll
I
see
noticed Busy's team was like an 87 or 8. I think I'm an 87. He was
what's
86.
going on with that?
I mean, he has a high overall team, and he has. Yeah. I mean, he just beat me, but he hasn't had success. The last couple of years. So, like, are we just headed to the same? Everybody's going to be stupid good. Roster wise.
I hope not.
I've noticed the overalls of the teams being higher, but the attributes not being very impressive.
Well, so the overall should drop as the real players start to, as you start to shuffle out more real players, because you don't want to, you're using your own guys who are 73 overalls and different things like that. Like, Van, once you lose Devontae Adams and you add another rookie receiver or something, all of a sudden your team overall is going to drop down. Stuff like that. But okay, this is a really big one, because we've never had this before. We have dev scenarios, but they're adding quarterback dev scenarios.
Hate it.
I think I'm with you on that one. So we'll let you start it out. Let's let Brian start out. What is your take on this then?
So and I was kind of like, listen, I get it, because I think we're all guilty. Like, it's so easy to just, and you put the hard cap rule in today, which is probably the right thing to do. But like, it would be so easy for a game for someone to, whether it's like they are just having a good day that day, or Madden's kind of throwing them a bone, to throw for like 450 and get a dev scenario the next game, even when they don't really deserve it. Like, and Madden better be like very, very
selective.
Scarce very selective, very scarce, or it's going to get ugly quick, where like, we're going to have guys getting dev scenarios every other week. But we put in that, the hard cap now, I think makes it a lot better that, you're not going to be able to have that happen. And the fact that it's a little harder to pass is good, but I still I don't like it.
I think what they need to do, though, is it would have to be something like throw for 3 touchdowns and no interceptions, though. Like, you'd have to have a negative thing in there, or else somebody can just come out gunslinging, and you can throw 100 deep balls and just hope that your one guy comes down with 3 of them or something like that. Like, there has to be some reason where a negative performance or a loss. I think if you lose, you shouldn't get a scenario in all scenarios.
Exactly.
Van, what about you? Are you on Brian's side with the quarterback scenarios, or what?
Well, I have another angle here. I've noticed some guys playing awesome with crappy quarterbacks this cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so there's some cycles where you need a good quarterback regardless of who you are as a user. But when I see Hurts up there, and I'm not saying the guy's not a good user, but you see a whole bunch of guys having success with very low overall quarterbacks. I would I think if it was harder to play with a bad quarterback, I'd be okay with it. But the way it is right now, absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing like Jacob Eason, Grizz is using his quarterback, and they miss throws, but they need to miss more. The difference between Jacob Eason and somebody else should be pretty big. And the fact that he can go 20 of 22 or whatever he's been doing is it would never happen, until you get him to a better overall. So I agree with you on that, because all it would do would get these guys, these crappier quarterbacks dev grades or dev upgrades just to get better quicker, which then you got the whole league having quarterbacks with, I don't know. I like the idea.
It doesn't make sense. No, there's supposed to be bad quarterbaks in football. Like, that's just the way it is. You can maybe win with a bad quarterback, but like, you shouldn't just get dev upgrades. Like, we can't be giving them out.
Like you said, it'd be much easier to trigger one for a quarterback than for a receiver or running back or somebody like that. But
it's really the only one you have. I mean, I guess running back kind of too, but like quarterback's the one you have the most control of.
And like you said, if you play Boone's defense or somebody, and you can just sit there and throw for 450. Like it would
you'd get a dev scenario if you're in the. I mean, if you're in the AFC East, you're praying for this. You'll have a chance twice a year.
Yeah,
I almost made Boone quit the other night.
Yeah, Boone was struggling. But yeah, so okay, well, let's move on because we know Brian's gotta hop off soon. All right, so
they're actually in overtime. So
nice, so we're good there.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's one we won't really have a choice about quarterback scenarios. I think that's going to be added, but unless we turn off all scenarios. But I think we're going to keep those on. So hopefully, like Brian said, they're very few and far between, and you really have to stream together a couple of good performances or something, or no turnovers or whatever it is. And then you got to make them difficult though, like you know,
it can't be throw for 200 yards and a touchdown for a star.
Yeah. We'll see. We might have to take it in our own hands. Okay, let's go ahead and move on here. Number 4, the ability to. Okay, so we got rid of abilities midway through last cycle. We kept them off this cycle. I think that was a good decision. Now they're giving you the ability to go into edit player, and you can change. The commissioner can go in and change the X factor or change the different superstar abilities. Not this cycle because we're not gonna change mid cycle again, but. Do you think this is something we could utilize in the future and keep abilities and X factors on if we could control which ones players get? Van, let's start with you this time around.
Well, I think there's 2 answers to this. I think you made a great point, Nick, earlier last season where X factors turned on just dumbed down other players.
Yeah.
So if that's the algorithm, then obviously that's just not an accurate way to produce a sim football game. However, in our current situation, maybe we could tweak, just turn them on for defensive ends, or you know what I mean? Like increase the pass rush. I don't know, but
that's an interesting thought. I just don't know. I don't know if that would be feasible, but that is interesting.
Where I laughed because I thought you were just kind of saying that like you have a good defensive end, you want it on for defensive ends. That's why I laughed there.
No. I was thinking maybe we could fabricate some pass rush by some.
Because we're struggling. I'm struggling to find a way to create AI pass rush without making the user. But now I guess with a couple updates here, we might be able to up pass rush. We'll have to look at it again now that they made pass rush a little bit more. The user pass rush not as effective.
Yeah, Brian did.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah,
but
I think
the thing is though, I hate the idea of it dumbing down the opponents' players.
Yeah,
that makes me sick. I don't like that at all.
If you have a really good star corner that doesn't have abilities and he's a 95 overall, but I have a 72 overall receiver with some post ability or whatever, and he just abuses your corner. It shouldn't happen.
Well, I thought Madden did a good job of the abilities weren't as crazy. It looked like Moore and Samuel got they were in out elite, and it was out routes under 12 yards or something like that. It wasn't just every post is a touchdown. Across the board, I noticed they were all more specific.
Yeah,
at least in the receiver position. I can't really speak on the others, but they were more specific, which seemed good. Because last year with the abilities on, I could literally just run one of those 2 guys vertically because they had the 2 vertical ones, and one of them was going to catch it. It was just stupid.
Yeah, they got rid of the specific route and went more with the area of the field. So short, mid, deep, and then either inside or outside or whatever it is. So you still can find the ones with. That's the only part I don't like with those, though, is if you have somebody who's, say, short out, then you're going to put that guy in the position of your out route every play you're running an out, and I don't like the idea of him being able to just get wide open on out route, which, in real life, if you have a guy who's a really good route runner, you might have him run certain routes, but for, Madden standpoint, I don't need your deep post guy running the deep post every single time. And
so I think the counterpoint that real quick, and then Ben, you go is that they did give us if I have more with out elite, but you have the ability to say I'm going to put the hook zone at 10 yards and or the curl at 10 yards or flat at 10 yards. If I think you're going to run a 10-yard out route on third down, I'm going to put it at 10 yards. They did add a couple things in, but it's still it's Madden, so it's not close to perfect.
But certain things that people didn't like with the abilities, the one with the quarterback, what was it called, where you could just take off out of the pocket.
The one that Kyler Murray never got because of Regan's story. That one. Yeah,
like that one, and then even the hit sticks and the super juke was even crazy when every single running back got it.
Super juke was nuts.
I think we could bring abilities back if there were a lot more options. I don't know how many more they could do, but like every elusive back getting either super juke or super spin, like there's got to be something else, or like, you got to give us more abilities.
And the flip side is now McCaffrey's like spin move, he goes like 8 yards, like inside, like or outside, whichever. It's so there's just not like a happy medium. Like just find a fucking medium where they don't look like idiots and they don't. Play like Superman. Like just find that happy medium.
That's why you go ahead, man.
Oh, sorry. I think that the X Factors and the superstars, they shouldn't be tied to those two traits only. I think that if you could tie special traits to all developments, you just got a guy who might be out of college, he's a normal, but he's a great deep ball runner, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. And it's just not tied to two sets of dev traits, where you could match up your star guy on maybe an X Factor guy that could counterbalance his ability.
Yeah, I'd like to see it more like the 2K badge system still. I think, they're kind of behind the scenes a little bit more than the X Factors were with the light ups and sound effects and stuff. And then there was like 4 or 5 levels of each one, where it's like, just, like where maybe a guy who, or they could just make ratings matter, where a 97 juke is better than a 92 juke, or not,
right?
Just like that's
we can stop this whole conversation and go back to square one.
Yeah, where you don't need to like find a threshold and
that's
nonsense. Yeah. Like I find myself now like giving guys upgrades just to get them to this like imaginable threshold that I don't even really know. I just looked at it once and I think I might have an idea. I'm probably 20 numbers off, but like it's kind of stupid. Like I want to just be able to build the guys how I want to build them, but like now in my head I feel like I have to do this threshold shit because the guy some other guys are doing it.
They react a 0.2 seconds earlier or whatever. Like it just
stupid.
A 90 zone coverage guy should react slower than a 97 zone coverage guy. Like you need to make every single number matter. And I don't know how they could do it, but there's a way, because other games are like that. But
they would have to have more than 4 people on their chai staff.
That's true.
That would start with that.
Well, let's go ahead and move along here. Okay, this was a cool one because I think this one we will utilize 100%. Play call limits and cooldowns. So it would, we could set the amount of times a specific play is allowed to be called, or you can even set, you have to call X amount of plays in between calling that play again. So on something like that, where do you guys stand, Brian? What about you on this one?
All right. I love the idea of it. I think it just has to be implemented like in a certain way. And I think offensively, like you almost got to look at it like, the run plays, inside zone power.
That's my point.
Those things like, maybe, there shouldn't be a cap because you should be able to run. You know what? If you're abusing it, then you should get called out. But like, you should be able to run inside zone twice in a row. Like that's normal, or ISO twice in a row, whatever that is. On the flip side, though, that I think you should not be allowed to call a pass play twice in a row. It just shouldn't happen because it's kind of like if you're calling a pass play twice in a row, or if you're calling a pass play, for me, like unless I forget, which I do a lot of forgetting. Like I don't call things twice a game unless so like. I feel like there should be a 1 limit on pass plays, but run has to be unlimited. I think defensively, it's a nice idea, but it just doesn't work. Like I'd love to see
complicated.
Like where you can't call cover 3 6 times in a drive, but I don't know how that would be implemented in the way they've given it to us.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll give you options for offense and defense, or if it's one size fits all kind of thing. Van, what about you?
Well, yeah, I love the idea. Like Brian said, I love it, but there's always loopholes to these types of things where the play is very, very similar, but it's called something different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I mean, it's great in theory, but there's gonna be too many ways around it.
That is the main problem where you you can get the same play out of a different formation. You know, if you have a trips formation, there's like 16 different trips formations you can add, and they have a lot of the same plays. So you almost would have to have it be a concept thing, but at the same time, you can't eliminate, you know, you can't, like a flood concept. There's different flood concept plays, but I don't know. It's a really tricky one to implement but like you said, if it's done correctly, because there are certain things, you know, you could set it where you can't run a halfback screen twice in a row, or you can't run like, you know, whatever else there is, you know, it's a bunch of different things that I don't know.
So can we put a limit on one jet touch pass a game, because nobody in the NFL runs it more than once. And
what about a crosser?
Well, but like you can't, like, how are you gonna put a limit on a crosser? You know, like, it just doesn't.
No, I was just being sarcastic.
That's what I've never.
Was that like a dig at me? I don't know.
No, that's your guilty conscience.
That's what I've never understood either. Crossers, like, people get mad when the receiver that's out wide comes in across the field. I'm like, there's only so many places a dude who's lined up 5 yards from the sideline can run. Like, he's either running deep, a hitch, or he's coming towards the middle of the field. You know, like you're going to see a drag, a slant, a post, or a dig, like, and everyone calls them all crossers, you know, and it's.
Well, that's the one thing in this league that bothers the hell out of me, and like, it is that,
there's
like,
more
guys,
than just one thing.
Yeah, like they don't. Yeah, obviously, but like they like every route. Like we just groups everything together. Like people don't recognize that like there's a lot of subtle differences to this stuff, and that subtle difference like does matter.
Makes a huge difference.
100% matters.
Yep.
Some guys don't know the difference between a slant and an in.
Well,
like it's all this. Any in breaking route is like, you know, it's like
slant,
come on, guys, we got to be a little more on our side.
Well, you know, sometimes you might, you know, if you throw a drag the first play, that might have been your first read, whatever. But then you might come back with another play, and you're looking at two other routes, and then all of a sudden, like, well, those are covered, so you throw the drag again because it's wide open. But like, you know, that difference too. If you come out with a drag being your first read 2 plays in a row, I'll get a little mad about it. But if you come out and you're looking other places, and then you check down to your drag or something,
and you know when,
then I'm like, cool.
You know when people when they're doing it, like and. You know, some people, no, not some people. I have struggled the last couple games because I'm sitting home and I'm losing my fucking mind. And I got on the last couple games and I've just fucking chucked the ball around because I'm like, you know, I'm throwing it deep. Like I'm fucking, you know, I'm not at all locked in like I was, and I'm struggling because I'm not throwing the ball short. I'm not, you know, going like
you need to throw the ball goddamn short. You need to.
Yeah,
I mean,
you have to. Yeah, but there's got to be like a good balance.
That's why I'm 5-4, man. Like I refuse to. You know, I just don't like to play that way. But I think I have to if I want to.
Nick, you said you can't. You made this big speech that you were going to change.
So I did. I did 2 games in a row, and then after my fumble against Tosh, where his 97 or whatever. 50,000-pound defensive tackle ran 80 yards for a touchdown. I just started chucking, and
you need to go to like all verts and like anonymous or something to like talk about it, because you just cannot do it.
I'm just gonna hot route a curl every single play and just throw it.
Have you never thrown a curl?
I've never thrown a curl.
No, I know. And what about your tight end? You might want to look at him.
Come on. Dude, he's on the field for one reason.
I'm telling you, I got Jonnu Smith a couple of weeks ago. Unbelievable change.
Well, yeah, because you just run your play action crosser to him.
I got hurt and haven't used him at all.
I run 3 a game.
All right, I'm just kidding. Let's go ahead and move on here. Last one.
I think I inhaled smoke from the burn. By the way, that's why I keep coughing.
Pork chop.
As long as dinner tastes good. Okay, our sixth question of our 6-pack here. What do you want to see next that hasn't been mentioned at all? Is there a certain feature that you still think we need? Is there a certain commissioner tool we need? Is there, what is it? Brian, let's start with you.
I'm going with something like completely Madden related, because it just happened. Like when you win the Super Bowl, like have something happen other than the same fucking thing that's gone for the same 4 years. Like give it like make it feel like somewhat special, even if you're. Like it's the same way it's been forever. Like there used to be cool when I was little. I remember like winning it, like it was like a cool celebration, everything. Like now it's just it's bullshit like scene.
You're right though. It's been the same since like Madden 17 or 16.
So
where
like let us have something cool. Do something other than just the bullshit. And
the fact that it's always in the same city too. Like it's going to be in Tampa Bay every single year for this entire cycle, which I like.
Stupid.
That's just fucking lazy.
Just give me something,
Exactly.
man. It'd be cool to select the league votes on a stadium for
a job like that. We'd be fired in a week. Like that pisses me off. The fact that you don't even give a shit.
But it's true though, especially in a 32-man league. When you win the Super Bowl, it's an accomplishment. It's really a cool feeling. But then, like you said, you already know it's going to be Josh Allen, one defensive player, and then a backup, the second string receiver standing up on the podium with the trophy.
I'm really Shaq Thompson, Josh Allen, and DJ Moore.
I'm really glad you guys know what a Super Bowl celebration looks like.
Well, I actually was going to dig at Nick because I was going to be like, you haven't felt that in a while.
That's very true. I felt it 2 years in a row, and I haven't felt it in a while. Oh, but that was so it'll be all new to me. I'm excited. If I ever win.
Well, it won't be all new actually, though. That's the thing. It'll be the same thing.
Yeah. Just different color jerseys. Van, what about you?
We need to scrap the scouting system.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like just scrap it and start from let's get some personality traits in there. Let's get some the fact that we have to wait all the way to the end to see the 40s. I understand that, but then you can't scout again when the guys are out of the playoffs. Just that one small change to give the guys that don't make the playoffs, their draft boards would be way better if they had those 2 weeks waiting for playoffs. I tell you.
Yeah.
Yep.
And in the A, B, and C grade, the fact that it can range so much, it just doesn't work.
Well, and like we have to do our own dev wheel and game. Like we're able to do. Like, we put like you guys can't. You're telling me this $1 billion company can't just like figure something out. I mean, it doesn't have to be a game with a dev wheel, but like anything to make it better.
Give us a box score of a fake game. That we can look through. Like, oh, this receiver had 6 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown. He might be good. Something.
Anything than what it is now, because it doesn't work.
What about this? NHL has the fog of war where when you draft a player, you don't see their ratings. So you're playing for a certain amount of time. So you're playing with the guy or using the guy, and you're seeing the results of his wrist shot or whatever else. But until you like scout enough, then you start to see, oh, he's a 97 wrist shot, or how would you feel about something like that?
How do they start off? Like, what do you see initially when you draft?
So if you didn't scout that region, or you took somebody you didn't have scouted very much, it's something to the effect of you see question marks, or it might say 72 overall, but it'll be like a certain color, so it's not very accurate, But then as you start to scout him more, it turns green, and you're like, oh, he's an 84, whatever it is.
That would be awesome.
You have an idea, but I think it would help people not give up on players as easy. Because like if you draft a bum as your second round pick, you just cut him into free agency, But maybe this guy ends up being something cool. I don't know. I think it would be something cool if they added that in there.
Well, they got a quarter of the budget that
I know. And they put out new stuff for their franchise. So and it just is crazy to me. Like you can scout by region, you can scout by position, you can like in-depth things. And it just drives me nuts. But scouting for sure. That's what I want. I'd like to see it. You can click 6 guys, go to their pro days that week, and then you get extra. You find out this guy's actually a 94 speed or whatever it is. And
I thought you just scouted one trait, and that was speed.
But I'm just saying you should be able to go to pro days, attend a couple practice, whatever it is. Just coach.
Remember NFL head coach. You guys might be a little. But I mean, a lot of the great ideas came from that, and that should be implemented. There was a post about the new NBA scouting system.
Dude, they're so far ahead. 2K's career mode is so far ahead of Madden's. It's not even funny.
It's insane. Actually,
you can vote. Like you can vote on changing the shot clock from 24 to 35, or moving the 3-point line. You can. Imagine if we were like, all right, we want the play clock to be 30 seconds now, or like, whatever it is. You want football field to be 120 yards long. Like just they have all this kind of stuff where you can change how many people are in the All-Star game, how many people like that. Like it's fully voted on by all the people in the league every offseason. They put up like 50 or 6, 7 things. And that's the one thing I want to see added to each player though. In 2K, they give you the peak start and the peak end, and every player's is different. So a player might not progress as fast until he hits 27. And then from 27 to 34, he really gets really good. And then 34 is when his peak. Every player being different like that would be really cool.
Yeah, so just anything to just not have it the same monotonous process. Like it just becomes such a
it's so boring.
grind of just the same thing over and over. It's like give us any. I don't even like use scouting points sometimes. Like I just like I just feel like it's useless. Like
the one thing that they didn't do this year, the communications person should be fired. Is we all complained about the draft classes, right? Like they were terrible. They actually somebody went in and did a tweak to those. That's a massive upgrade.
They tweaked them. They added more first and last names. You're not getting as many recycled names, which is good.
You're getting different depth at different positions. And all they had to say was, hey, guys, we revamped the draft class. Because they kind of did.
Well, it's probably in that one thing where when they post their updates, general stability fixes. And that's all, And
but the communications guy's got to be fired there because we would have been like, whoa, that's great. Awesome.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think it's a win for us just because they actually have acknowledged that there's a market out there that play, multiple user franchises. Yeah, and that's what it's never been. They've never made any adjustments, and now they're adding, roster management tools. You can reset things and reset, free agent bids, which is huge for offseason free. If somebody has an illegal bid, I can just go in and pull it off myself instead of having to message and be like, "Hey, can you get on your Xbox and remove your bid?" So little things like that where they're given, commissioner controls and different things where it's solely focused on multiple person CFMs is huge. So hopefully, cross your fingers that they keep building off of it and we get a couple more things in there. But it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Well, it's insane that all these other sports franchises are light years ahead. And this is the most popular sport in America.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem.
Right. I can't even get my head around that.
Well, and the biggest, everyone keeps saying, they need competition. NHL has no competition, and they improve franchise mode. Franchise mode makes them $0, outside of the $60 that you spend on the game. So it's in 2K, I don't even think you can consider NBA Live competition.
When they added the basketball players, that was my last straw.
The who?
The basketball players, the last one. They asked
to the yard or whatever.
Yeah, dude, that was the Antetokounmpo brothers. Two of them, no one even knows who they are. Come on, dude.
You guys are kidding me right now. We can't have a draft.
Well, dude, that's Marquise Goodwin. I've had him the last 2 cycles, and they don't even have his face in the game. But you're right on launch day. You got DJ Khaled in there. How can
fuck off?
Come on.
Literally, just fuck off with DJ Khaled.
Seriously, DJ Khaled can fuck off. By the way,
No. But all right, I think we're good here. We can wrap this episode up. That was good. A little look into what we possibly will see coming up here on Wednesday. We'll have to definitely run some tests and see what everything looks like. It's hard to to say because we have no idea.
So Nick, what's your plan? Do you need to do a shout out here for people to put their arms up in the air for that testing? You can create a channel.
I'm home literally all day, so
Well, definitely regression. I think we can kind of just simulate and look at stats for that one. But as far as the play call limits and cooldown will be a big one we need to check out. QB scenarios, unfortunately, I think we're stuck with those whether we like them or not. And then, I think it's tough. It really is tough to implement any type of dev trait regression or setting limits to X factors. I think midway through the cycle too.
Yeah,
we learned that didn't work. But we'd have to, we'll definitely have to take the pulse of the league votes and see how people are feeling once everything's released and we can kind of look at it. And don't forget, guys, we're getting they've given us a playoff bracket you can see now. And
wow,
my commissioner does that for me.
At the end of the season, you can click on they have a special button now to go see retired players, even though it takes you to the menu that you already can go look at it. So.
Wow.
Did you remember when they did the X Factor one where you could look at and it crashed you for the first?
Oh yeah,
the first 2 seasons. Yeah. Yep. There's going to be a whole lot of what's this?
Well, that's my biggest hope. We can end it on that. Is I just hope that this big update they keep talking about doesn't ruin our franchise or make us restart or anything like that or lock us out of Madden for a week, whatever it is. I just hope everything goes.
What happens if we have to restart?
Oh,
we
man.
we just restart.
Then
Like
I'm
that's
telling
it.
everybody.
Brian, you shut the front door.
Then I'm telling everybody to go buy the next gen console, and we'll start on that one. But
Seriously, yeah, we'll start clean.
I don't know. Yeah, if we get locked out, because it would be a lot of work to create all the rosters all over again. So
if we get
see.
locked out,
we would just start
happens
from
to
scratch
Rob?
with current rosters.
Yeah, at that point you could.
I got Marcus Jackman Spears.
You could do a fantasy draft, whatever. It would already upset a bunch of people. Some people, maybe like Aries, would be pumped because his team sucks, but
And he traded them all away.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay, before we go, who would be the most upset at a restart?
Probably Jack.
Wings?
Oh my god.
Jack is sat there with shitty, these crappy players that he's been playing with, and he finally probably has them somewhat near where he wants them.
Brackett would be like, thank God you saved me.
I don't know. I think Brackett's team is nasty. It's his thumbs that are.
I just like to say.
I don't know.
You would see the most complaining or like the most upset in Maine and I don't even know if it like really affects him that much, but it would be Drew. Like Drew would just fight, like just constantly complain about it.
That's probably true.
And like it'd be like, dude, you have Jacob fucking, or I don't even know who his quarterback is now, but like
Tua.
Tua, yeah.
No, I really don't. Right though, yeah, that would be
It's
it would be interesting. It would be interesting to see what happened because for me, I know I would be absolutely devastated because the only reason I play this is to get far into it and to have to start over with the players all I would be so pissed. I
your
honestly,
first year was your best year.
No, but I honestly, but that's irrelevant because that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to, I want to make the receiver whatever. But I honestly, I'm going to say right now, if I might sit the rest of the cycle out if that happened, I'm going to be 100% honest. If we get locked out, I would really have to think about what I wanted to do. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
That's fair.
So that would be, we would get the XCFL Reloaded in a year. Basically.
Yeah. Once we could go back,
we'd call Jim. Jim would run it.
There you go, Jim and Regan, dynamic.
Jim and Regan. What is Regan?
A disaster that would be.
Regan's been busy.
Okay, so now that I'm super worried,
let's got a girlfriend.
Yeah,
I don't want this update crashing though. Well, it's going to.
No,
it's going to be.
We'll be okay. They've been good about fixing their problems quickly, which is very strange because they never put out same day updates or the next day update. So
that wasn't there. Big. You said they had to pass them through some sort of an approval process that was 3 weeks before.
I have no idea. I don't.
Yeah. Anyways, we're not going to get booted out of the draft this year, so that's nice.
Yeah, that's big. All right, well, let's go ahead and round this up here. That was a nice little 40-ish minute episode. I'm not 100% sure. But, guys, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed. This is episode 6 of the VNB Show. Gentlemen, thank you for joining. And we'll be back at it next week.
See you next week. Seriously, TJ Cal can fuck off, by the way. Yeah.